Naruto x Boruto Ninja Tribes has been out for about a month now, depending on when you were able to get access to the game. I've been playing the game ever since its official release, and I did my first impressions video on the game as soon as I got my hands on it. But now that it's been an entire month with a brand new mobile game, I wanted to talk about it a little bit and give you my take on the game so far. I won't be talking about the core gameplay too much, because I've talked about that a lot before, but in case you're curious on my take on it, it's a really interesting version of a turn-based semi-deck building game. I actually think this is really one of the most unique and interesting things about the game, and it's probably its standout feature. I've played plenty of mobile games in the past, granted fairly casually. None of them have had gameplay that compares to this, in my opinion. I think this gameplay is really good for anybody who's used to turn-based strategy games. But instead of focusing on the gameplay in this video, I want to talk about both the progression system and the game modes that are scattered throughout the game. Firstly, progression feels pretty good. It took me about a month to get to the level that I'm at now, and I've been fairly actively playing. I could have played more optimally. There are certainly days where I missed out on daily challenges and things that I could have been doing just because I was busy, but for the most part, I kept up with it daily and I made sure I was at least doing a little bit of progress each and every day, and that's kind of the way that these games work, right? You want to just keep up and maintain your daily quests, and then you'll eventually progress to a level that you're comfortable with. And right now, I'm happy to say that my team looks pretty awesome. I've got all my favorite characters from both Naruto and Boruto that are already in the game. We're getting new characters every couple weeks so far, so we'll see how that progress keeps up. We just got the legendary Sannin in the game. They seem pretty fun, although I probably won't end up using any of them. I might use Orochimaru just because he combos with Sasuke and Kabuto, and my Kabuto is already a pretty high level, so I might look into that. But so far, they haven't added too many characters that I'm particularly excited about. Obviously, they're going to get to that point, but we'll see how that goes. Let's get into game modes, though, because I think that's where the interesting part of this discussion lies. Firstly, there's your standard and elite missions. These are your main way that you're going to progress through the game. Once you've completed each of these missions once, you'll just basically be skipping them because it's just more efficient to use your stamina to skip the missions than it is to actually play them. You get rewarded with XP vials instead of like the actual XP that would go to your character, so you can assign that XP however you want. You've got both a gold rush and XP drill. These are basically just daily missions. They don't mean a whole lot. The meat of this game is in the events tab, where you have Ninja Arena, Raids, Towers of Eternity, Joint Exercises, and Ninja World Tournament, all of which give you unique rewards and unique gameplay. Ninja Arena is the closest thing that we have to PvP in the game. You select one of the 5 opponents that are assigned on the left-hand side. Those will have various levels of power, and you can select which one is most optimal for you to verse. You and your opponent's team will verse each other in an automatic match. This mode, by far, is the most disappointing to me. I really like the idea, but as the only real PvP option that's in the game right now, it definitely falls short of being satisfying. The reward for me, personally, when I play a turn-based strategy game, especially one that has PvP as a core central part of it, is the feeling of myself making better decisions than my opponent, resulting in my victory. Obviously, that's not always going to be the case when it comes to a gacha game, because there's a lot of microtransaction stuff that goes into that, but this game knows exactly what it is, so it tries to mitigate that by giving you various options of opponents to verse on the left-hand side, allowing you to select which one is best for you. But still, this doesn't really involve much of a decision-making process at all. Outside of my team composition and the choice of my opponent, there is no decision-making in this game mode, which is a bit sad considering that it is the PvP mode. Sure, you can reorganize your team a little bit and try to do different matchups and things like that, but you won't be able to do that without lowering the power level of your team because it's a gacha game, right? So some of your characters won't be powerful enough to do what you want them to do. The raid mode is basically just a damage check. It's not particularly exciting. It's just you and your team being like your alliance or your clan or your guild, whichever term you're most familiar with. You all team up to verse a very powerful raid boss. Again, it's mostly just a damage check. There's not a lot of decision making here, but I don't expect there to be. Towers of Eternity is actually a really cool game mode. You run through this game mode with every single one of your shinobi until eventually they all die, and then when the day resets, you'll get all your shinobi back, and then you can run back through the towers to try and climb even higher. I like this game mode because it gets you thinking about what characters you want to upgrade outside of it. That way you don't just focus on your main 9-man team that you're going to be using in the other game modes. This kind of forces you to upgrade your entire shinobi lineup. Joint Exercises is kind of the other end of that spectrum. You select a 3-man team instead of a 9-man team, and then you join 2 other players and their 3-man team to verse some NPC. You'll select between, I think it's like 6 different NPCs, and depending on which NPC you verse, you'll get rewards based on that single character. So in the background, you can see that I'm doing a Sarada exercise, which means by the end of the exercise, I will get Sarada shards and some other rewards, allowing me to upgrade my Sarada unit. Then there's the Ninja World Tournament, and at first I thought this was going to be in the main PvP mode, and I got really excited, but it's not. Again, it's just another automatic system. You select 5 different teams instead of 3, and you don't even get to watch the fights. You select the team that you want for the day, and then the next day you come back and you find out whether your team won or lost. I like this as a game mode, but you can imagine how disappointing it was when I initially thought that this was going to be the PvP mode. It is kind of PvP, it's just not live PvP. None of these modes are particularly bad, but the lack of a traditional PvP mode where I can make decisions based on my opponent's decisions makes me take Naruto Ninja Tribes far less seriously than I would have otherwise. Originally, this game was incredibly appealing to me. You can go back to some of my early videos initially covering the game, and I was very excited about the idea of a strategy-based Naruto game that I could play. I'm used to playing strategy games. I've easily played over 30,000 games of Hearthstone. I've played a bunch of card games. I love strategy games. So I can't stress how disappointing the lack of a real PvP mode is. I really like the gameplay of Tribes. There is a lot of possible strategy here, but across every single game mode in the game, I don't need to think about any of those strategies at all. The single player PvE experience is too easy for any of my decisions to actually matter. PvP is almost entirely automatic, so all I have to think about is my team composition and how I want to spend my upgrade resources. Not exactly the compelling, engaging experience I was hoping for. Now, I'm really hopeful that the game will add some type of PvP experience in the future, so I certainly haven't given up on the game and I still intend to play the game quite a bit, but if the game really did have that PvP experience I was hoping for, I would be praising this game a lot right now, but the reality of the game, where it doesn't have this PvP option that I would like, I think it's just a fun experience. I can't take it that seriously. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's bad, and there is still PvP, it's just not the type of PvP that I wanted. I would recommend trying out Tribes. I think it's a fun experience, and if you haven't already, let me know what you think once you've tried it. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name has been Bilbzy, and I'll be back to my regularly scheduled content tomorrow. I'll see you in the next video, and have a fantastic and safe day.